Welcome back to another 31 Days of Horror Toronto After Dark edition video. In the second film of Zombie Night. This time we're going across the pond. Not to England, no.
Yeah, I was like,
we're going the other pond. To Japan. For I Am a Hero. From 2015, oddly enough. Just took that long to get over here. I hate the Japanese distribution market. Yeah, like I said, zombie film. Essentially, it's an adapted from a manga or manga, however you want to pronounce it. Both are correct. I guess this was a critically acclaimed manga, or best-selling manga, or something like that.
Sure.
I'd never heard of it, but I don't really follow the manga scene. And so it's essentially it's a story about a manga artist, go figure, who's kind of a loser, doesn't have any self-esteem, allows everybody to essentially kind of pick on him, and he's very submissive. And then, of course, the zombie apocalypse happens. Well, this is more like 28 days later. They're not dead. They're infected. So they're infected by a virus which makes them, like, crave meat and want to kill. And yet they don't want to kill each other. But some of them are kind of normal moving and others are slow moving.
And they're like stuck in like whatever they were doing.
Yeah, they're whatever they have some memory of what they were prior to. So, if they were, say, like a ticket taker at a movie theater or something like that, they would kind of repeat things and want to be taking your ticket and stuff like that. If they're a butcher, they would probably want to cut you with their knife or something, you know. So it's a zombie. We'll put zombie in quotes so we don't get, yelled at by people. We'll put it into the zombie genre, even though technically I don't think they're dead. I don't think they die. Even though it does say, I think it does say in one of the news reports that the dead are coming back to life or something like that. Is that what they were saying? I don't know. I remember somebody bit a dog. Mm-hmm. But anyways.
And then doesn't it take more to like kill them than...
Yes, you have to kill them like a zombie, so you have to like, kill the brain or whatever. But it takes a lot. So these are strong. They're super strong. They can do things. Well, some of them are really talented and others are really stupid. I don't know.
Just like regular people.
Yeah, just like regular people. I guess they kind of pick and choose to whatever suits the story. So essentially it's this manga guy who ends up with a young girl, of course in a schoolgirl uniform, because that's, standard Japanese trope there. And he essentially vows to protect her. And then that's kind of it, even though they meet up with another woman later on who helps them. That's mostly about, I guess, their relationship, even though it's not about their relationship. It's mostly about him. It's mostly about him as a character development. So you can guess that if he starts off as the shy, meek, everybody picks on person at the beginning in a movie called I Am a Hero, that at the end, he's the hero, right? Whoa. The film is directed by Shinsuke Sato, who has done quite a few things. Adapted both animes and mangas to live action. If you watched or managed to catch the live action Gantz movies, I think there's 3 of them. He was the director behind those. He's also, I think his first work was called the The Princess Blade from 2001. That was his first film. So if that rings any bells, he's the guy behind that. He also did. There's the live action Bleach film that's just come out recently somewhere. I read, or was it a little while? I can't remember. I remember hearing about it and wanting to watch it. Maybe it's on Netflix. I don't know. But he also did the Death Note live action Death Note, which I think. Oh man, I can't remember what's on Netflix and what I just.
Death Note is on Netflix.
Is it on Netflix? But is it the anime or the live action?
It's not the anime because it's on my watch list.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, because Death Note was the manga, and I think they made an anime for it, and now I think there's a live action for it. So, there's that. He also did the series. I think there's Library Wars. There's a few movies of those. So and these are just the ones that I recognize. He's done a whole bunch of others that I've never heard of. Probably adapted from mangas that I've never heard of because there's billions of them. Yeah, so he's the director. Again, the manga was originally written by Kengo Hanazawa. So he's obviously credited as part of the writers. The other one is Akiko Nogi, who has done a few things, nothing crazy. The main part, the hero, who the quirky thing that he says is his name is Hideo Suzuki. Hideo spelled hero in the kanji, right? I don't know Japanese and how that works, but I guess you can spell a word one way and it's the same as another word. So comment down below if you know how hero and Hideo end up being the same word. Down below, I don't know. But that's played by Yo Oizumi, who has done a lot of stuff. And most of the stuff you wouldn't know him to recognize him from his face, because a lot of the stuff he's done is voice work. He started off early on with getting into the Miyazaki stuff, the Studio Ghibli, with his first film being Spirited Away, where he was Bandai Geru, and then he did The Cat Returns, Howl's Moving Castle, and then he kept going on. He did a whole bunch of independent stuff, did more anime. He did voice work on all the Professor Layton video games. If you ever played any of those in Japanese, I don't know. I've never played any of them, so I'm guessing he was only in the Japanese version, because I assume it'd be English in the stuff we had over here. But Kitaro from 2007, he had a role in that one, and then the sequel, of course. And then I think there was something lately that kind of stuck out to me that he had done. When Marnie Was There recently. Is that a Studio Ghibli? I don't know. But it's a recent anime that just came out. I think Shout Factory might have put it out, or one of the ones. But it's in the last year or so. He did some voice acting for that. And again, continued on doing voice acting. The Boy and the Beast, another anime that recently just came out over here. And then if you saw the film Tokyo Ghoul, again, I think that's adapted from they do a lot of adaptations of mangas and anime, right? Like it seems like their only market is that and then dramas. But he played the character of Kuryomato, and then recently on Netflix, I know this is on Netflix, and I believe it may be a Netflix original, the Full Metal Alchemist live adaptation. He's Shu Tucker in that. So he's had a very, very long and wide career in stuff that we would recognize, though we may not recognize him per se. We've probably seen him in stuff. So he's the main hero character. The young girl he finds is played by Kasumi Arimura, and she again hasn't been in a lot of stuff. Obviously younger, but she did do voice work in Marnie, which if you've been doing any of the recent animes that have been released over here, bigger releases over here, then you would know her from that. And she plays the character of Hiromi, who actually ends up being a half zombie, oddly enough. But we'll talk about that later. And finally, I don't know if you'd call her a love interest, because you expect her to be a love interest, but never really gets there. And this is the older female character that he ends up running into. The character of Tsugumi Oda, played by Masami Nagasawa, who again did a lot of stuff I've never heard from or heard of, some anime work. But what really stuck out for me was when she was younger. She played the role of Shobijin, one of the twin fairies in Godzilla Final Wars and Godzilla, I think it's Tokyo SOS. So that was kind of cool to learn. I didn't recognize her as one of them, but these are the kind of things you find out when you look up people in movies, right? You go, holy crap, that was them. But let's hear Leslie's thoughts.
Well,
okay, so to start off, we've already learned she doesn't like zombie movies so much, though they're kind of growing on her a bit.
I can tolerate
She can tolerate them.
Yes.
She also doesn't like subtitles, but she's starting to tolerate those as well, if she likes the movie. So, did she tolerate the subtitles?
Actually, in the beginning I thought it was going to be more of an issue than it was. Because what bothers me about subtitles is you're reading that, and then, like if there's a lot going on, I always feel like, well, I'm missing out because I'm reading this and I want to just watch and not read it. But maybe I am getting really used to it because it didn't bother me. I don't think there was a point where I was like, oh geez, I gotta read this crap. Like, it didn't. I was reading it and whatever, like I didn't think about it. Jeez, that's scary.
Well, there are I will admit, there are some films that do really bad subtitle jobs where I've seen it sometimes where I couldn't even read the subtitles. They went by so fast. It's like they hit a section of the thing where it's like, oh, I held these subtitles too long, and now I have to catch up to what they're actually saying. So you get these long, full-on sentences that are up there for like a second and a half, and it's like, and I'm like, how am I supposed to read that and see what's going on the screen at the same time, right? I have seen that. I have seen things where if done improperly, it's hard to follow when they have multiple people talking and multiple sources. So if they're doing subtitles for the person talking and say they have the radio because the radio is saying something or the television is saying something and they have to translate that as well, some of them will put them like right beside each other or right over top of each other in the same color and the same thing, and you can't tell what is what. So you think the guy's saying this thing and you're like, this doesn't make any sense, right? So yes, you can end up with some really bad subtitles. This just had regular subtitles. They were, well paced out. Everything went with what was going on screen. So there's no problem. At least you know that going in. But yes, there are bad subtitle jobs out there, and I don't think she's seen any yet. But we'll run into them eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah, but this wasn't an issue. You want to just hear overall?
Just spill your guts. Let it out. Just give it. Let the people at home know what you think.
I was not excited to watch this movie at all.
No.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like... I'm not a big Japanese whatever. I don't like that stuff. I don't watch that stuff. I don't watch the anime, whatever. I don't watch that stuff.
She doesn't.
So I did not want to watch this movie, but here I am. I'm stuck there, so okay. And in the beginning of the movie, I kind of liked the main character. I was like, okay, I could watch him for a while. He's okay. There's a little bit of funny here and there. So, okay. And then it went on, and I didn't want it to anymore. I was struggling. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It didn't hold my interest. Like, it did for a while. It held my interest. Okay. And then I didn't really care what was happening in the end. Not the very end, but there's a point where I'm just like,
it's the halfway to 3/4 way through the film where
it lost me for a bit. I'm like,
maybe even earlier than halfway, but I can see, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's the tone of this film. It starts off, like you said, there's some comedic bits, right? But it's not a comedy.
No.
It's the whole film. If you take the film as a whole, this is not a comedy. These are moments of laughter, but they don't continue. It's not consistent. It doesn't continue throughout. One of the things that they do is, he's a manga artist. He has a sort of a daydreaming imagination, and those moments are funny. And at first I thought, okay, this could be interesting, that we're going to get this film where, I Am a Hero refers to his imagination, where we're going to watch this guy going through the zombie apocalypse, and he's going to be doing these great, heroic things that you just can't do, but it's going to be his imagination. Yes, you would understand it, but because of what it will be happening, it's going to be, so over the top that you're just like, this is funny.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It shows up a smattering of a few times throughout the film, mostly at the beginning, and that's where you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. But then nothing.
Yeah.
And then eventually you see it again, and then nothing. And you're like, so why? Why put this in the film if you're not going to use it as a regular thing? There's no reason for it. If this person is a daydreamer and you're going to use that, then use it. But if he's actually living reality most of the time, then don't make him out to be this daydreamer when he's not this daydreamer. He's just a guy, right? It's like, you didn't have any ideas for the rest of the film as how you could use that? I don't know.
No, and I actually, in the fairly beginning, I was like, am I actually gonna like this movie? Because it was alright. I was kind of into it. Okay, what's going on? I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's not consistent. That's the big problem. You get these moments of comedy, but then they get nothing. And it just goes, which is fine. I mean, but if you're going to play up comedy, don't play it up as dumb comedy. Don't play it up as a really stupid. Play it up as realistic comedy where this is a situation, and because of the situation, it's funny. Don't play it up as, some guy goes, oh, Joy, and then he falls down or something like that, where it's like slapstick, and you're like, okay, this is going to be a comedy. This is a funny movie, but then you don't have anything else. So it's like, why do you have these stupid, anime type characters where you get the dumb guy who's just like blah, 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 but then you don't use it throughout the film. Like, you don't play the rest of the movie up. And I'm guessing it's a matter of they had to cut out portions of, the manga, and when you're picking and choosing, it's like, well, this doesn't further the plot, so we have to take this out. We have to take this portion out. We have to, but the problem is when you take out all of these funny moments, you just end up with the plot. You just end up with the story. And if the story is just a guy going through the zombie apocalypse,
it's been done.
It's been done, right? We've seen this. Like, we need something a little bit different. Otherwise, we're just watching zombies and people getting killed and such.
And also, that girl bothered me.
Which one? The young one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She bothered me, and I don't even know how I can say what I want to say because I can't ruin anything. But it bothered me how she seemed to, at a certain point, be helpful.
Well, yeah.
And then
useless. Useless.
And that really pissed me off.
It didn't make any sense to me. It made absolutely no sense to me. There's a moment where, in the film, where you're like, okay, these people are going to make this, group of people who are able to fight the zombies, and yes, there will be comedic moments and blah, blah, okay, but then she just becomes this third wheel for the rest of the film, and you're like, Why? Why even go down that route? Why have any of this stuff? Like, why turn her into a half zombie? Why do any? It wasn't even necessary.
No, and it's not like that's okay. This is his daughter, or this is
No.
his niece, or any. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. So if she's there still, give her a purpose, because then that would have made more sense to me, and that's what I was expecting. So I was like, oh, okay, I get this. She's there for him, and you know, this is what's going to happen.
It's clearly her section of the story was cut out, because there's clearly more going on with her character that just never made it to the film. And why they didn't change the things, if you're going to cut out all of the stuff regarding her from the book, then either cut her out of the film altogether, or change it so that there's a reason for her being there, because there's no reason for her being there.
No, she's
other
dead
than
weight.
other than they keep saying, oh, you know, you have to save her.
But why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you have to? There is absolutely no reason given for our hero and his motivation needing to save her. You know,
I was like, why save her? Why not save this person?
why not save
here?
anybody else?
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. It's not like it's when we say little girl, we're saying like teenager, right? When I say schoolgirl uniform, she's in high school. She can fend for herself at this point. It's not like it was
it's not
a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old girl who's crying on the side of the road because, you know, mommy and daddy just got eaten by zombies and he's decided to save this girl. No, it's not that. There's no bond developed between them, really. I mean, they say a few lines of dialogue where you're like, oh, okay, there's something going on there, but a few lines of dialogue did not create any type of connection, right?
No, to make it, like, I'm sorry, but if that was me and I was him, and somebody is making it increasingly harder for me to be able to survive, you know what I mean? Like, just like, you have to lift or you know what I mean? It's like, at some point, aren't you gonna be like, I can't do this anymore? You know? Like,
well, yeah.
So that really, really, really pissed me off a lot.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It's clear they made a decision, and they had to, obviously, when you're trimming stuff down, they decided to focus on the I am hero portion of it, of the main character, and try and tell his story. And while doing it, they didn't really think about which parts they needed to remove and how it would affect the rest of the film as a whole. Or they did, and they just thought, well, it's okay, it's enough, right? It's enough that he has this girl and that's his reason. But that's not enough. Like, you have to have something else.
And as much as I was really wanting this movie to end, if they had to make it a little longer to put some explanation, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is what's happening, blah, 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 then I would have been okay with that.
True. Yep. No, I get you. And you know what? And the simplest thing that would have been there would have been that she was the cure. She would have been the cure. That would have been the standard thing, right? She got bitten, but she never fully turned. Mm-hmm. So there must be something special about her. But they don't really go down. They don't even mention that. It's just like, after that fact, people see her and try and kill her because she has been bitten. She is infected. So for them, it's like, if you're infected, we kill you. But there's no real, hey, this person is special. This is somebody we have to save. We have to keep them because they may be the future of humanity. They may, you know, like, none of that conversation happens in the film, which you would expect because that would be the most common thing. But they don't even go down that route. Not at all. It's like, you just have to fill that in for yourself and be like, well, she's special, so he's got to save her. What? No. Gore lovers, I will be happy to say that there is quite a few instances of blood to the extreme, and the climax of the film amps that up considerably. Considerably. Admittedly, the end scene, as awesome as it is to watch, it's also kind of frustrating, and I can't really go into it without giving too much away. But yeah, we'll just say there's a few remaining survivors and lots of zombies, and yeah, they have to deal with things. So crazy stuff happens. Yeah, I don't know. Rating.
See, also in the beginning, I was kind of thinking, oh my god, am I going to have to give this a 3? Because I was going along with it. Well, I'm not.
She gave up on it.
But it's still, even though I didn't like it and I felt it was drawn out and I hated that girl, and it still wasn't, like, I've seen worse movies, you know? It's not a horrible movie. So I'm kind of like, and the subtitles were okay. Like, I seriously wasn't thinking about it the whole time, which is weird because I'm not into that. So I'm kind of thinking like 2.5.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the 3 on this film.
But it's more your thing anyway.
Yeah, I want to give it a 3.5, but it didn't hold my interest. I found I was
yeah,
getting,
so you can imagine how I felt.
Yeah, I found myself getting bored. And I didn't care so much about the characters anymore, or at all. You know, like the only character you actually really have any feelings for is your main character, is your hero. But at the same time, how long can you deal with a guy who's just like, I'm just gonna let people pick on me? You're like, dude, you're surrounded by killer zombies. Like, if that's the case, then you would just lie down and let them eat you, right? Like, if you're this much of a scaredy cat, can't do anything because, you know, you're too passive and such, then you know what? There is absolutely no way you would have made it through the film to get to the point where you're the hero. You would have either been killed or let yourself being killed way, well, right from the beginning, essentially. Right from the beginning. You know, like if it is, you are the nobody that you make yourself out to be at the beginning, and you don't see a natural progression of at least something moving forward, then why? Why am I watching this guy? Because he's just the same as he was at the beginning, all the way through to like 3/4 of the way through the film, and you're just like, seriously, dude, like, where's my Mega Time Squad now? Where he's got the cojones, right? Like, why aren't you talking to yourself in a mirror about your big nuts at this point? Because honestly, it should have happened at some point, but no, it's not until essentially he's not the hero until the very end of the film, and yeah, I don't. There's so much more that could have been done with this film, and yes, it's an adaptation from a previous work, and you're trying to keep it, I guess, as close as possible to that previous work. And I haven't read it, so I don't know what was changed, what was cut, what was added, etc., etc. So that makes it a little bit hard. But as a film by itself, it has problems. I mean, visually and story-wise, in terms of flow, yeah, sure, it continues on, it flows. It doesn't get sporadic and jump all over the place or anything like that. You can follow it, but like we said, there's questions like, why is there no development of this? Why is this person here? Why did this happen? There's no explanation given for it, and therefore it's as a viewer, you're just like, then don't put it in the movie. Mm-hmm. There's no reason. Give us something else. Give us a joke. Give us a kill. Give us something, please. So yeah, I want to go higher than 3 because technically the film is solid. It's just story-wise, it's a little shaky. It doesn't really hold up. At least for me, it didn't hold my interest. So, would I recommend it? Oh boy, would I recommend it? If Leslie was asking me for a zombie film to recommend, I would not. It would not be on my recommend list. If somebody was asking me for something different, like I've seen all the major zombie movies, I've seen all the stuff. I need something different. I need something that, I haven't seen before. And, they kept liking it to Train to Busan. It's not Train to Busan. It is not anything like Train to Busan. Train to Busan is nonstop action. Let's put it that way. This is not nonstop action.
Oh, no.
Okay. Train to Busan has multiple forms of character development. This does not. And so I would probably say watch Train to Busan if you haven't already. And if they have, they're like, yeah, I liked it. I liked all the action, but I'm looking for something a little bit more, subdued. Then I would recommend this movie.
This would be my thing on the movie cover. It would say, it has its moments.
It has its moments, Leslie. Right on the cover of the DVD. You pick it up. It has its moments. I gotta see this.
I didn't say if they're good or not.
Yeah, it's not a bad film, but you could do better.
Oh, yeah.
Many, many, many better films out there. But if you've seen, all the really good things, there's no problem going to this film because there's a lot of stuff way below it. So I'd say this is kind of in the middle of the zombie films for me. Kind of in the middle. She hasn't seen enough zombie films to.
Because it's not my thing. I'm a ghost girl.
She's a ghost girl. We'll get you into some zombies. We'll do the living deads.
I saw one of them.
One of them.
It was black and white.
We can go all over the place. Anyways, gonna go off on a tangent. That could be another hour. So we'll end the video here. I don't know if this must
Are you wondering?
distribution.
Oh, okay.
Like, will people be able to see this film?
They didn't say anything about it. I don't know.
I would think there's a possibility that something like Wellgo or Arrow Video could pick this up for distribution to home video here. It could also get picked up by Netflix or something like that. They're picking up a lot of Japanese, especially the manga adaptation or anime adaptations. They're picking up a lot of that. And because they've already had stuff from this director, it may be the same studio or production team, so that may get picked up. So if you're lucky, you may be able to, probably next Halloween or something like that, be able to see this film in some shape or form. So hopefully, cross your fingers if you're interested that happens. Otherwise, yeah. No real loss. I mean, you don't have to track down the Japanese import or anything like that.
We watched it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, we watched it, so you don't have to. It's not super good that you have to track it down. So
No, because we would tell you.
we would tell you if that was the case. So yeah, if you have seen it, comment down below if you think we're completely off our rockers
You
here.
don't need to say that.
You could say that.
You don't need, if you want to talk about him, that's fine.
But yeah, thanks for watching. More 31 Days of Horror to come, because this was movie 9? Movie 9?
I don't keep track. I don't know. That's your thing. You keep track.
Yeah, I think it's movie 9, and we're already behind. And I'm at the festival already, so I'm usually like maybe a day behind when I hit the festival, and the festival pushes me ahead of it, but I'm already into the festival and falling behind, so... Whoo, yeah. Stay tuned. More to come. Thanks for watching. Until next video, take care. Have a good one.